What's up? Welcome to the room upstairs. I am your host, Bird, here with my co-host, as always.
The tall being.
This is this is the greatest father-son duo since Din Djarin and Din Grogu.
Yeah, something like that.
And we have here behind us, Memphis Joe. He's feeling a little out of it today. He's our usual third host, but he is not here. So we've got honorary Memphis Joe back there, and we have a special guest that is joining us for this episode. So say hello, everybody, to Mr. Dre Murray.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hello, everybody. Hello. How you guys doing, man?
Yeah, me and Dre go back a little while. We were just talking earlier that we met probably 2008-ish,
Yeah.
2010, sometime in that space. And this guy's a musician. Is musician fair to say?
Yeah.
Or is
I
it
think
more?
so.
Okay, he does raps. You know.
Yeah. My voice
I
is kind of an instrument. I've learned that. Yeah.
Right. And I think when you say like, "Hey, I'm a rapper," it kind of puts this like, almost like a
Negative
stigma.
connotation.
Yeah. And that's not you.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel so.
No, I don't feel so either. But yeah, I get it, especially in 2023. Like you, everybody's a rapper. So it's
That's
like,
right. Exactly.
you know.
Not another one of these guys. Well, this is not one of these guys. This guy's a little special. Go ahead and tell him a little bit about Dre Murray.
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm a rapper. I love hip hop. Grew up in Houston, emerged in just the culture of hip hop in the 80s and 90s. And also one of the things that I love are movies. And my mom would take me to the movies all the time, and I fell in love with movies very, very early. So a lot of my music is very like you can visualize what's going on. It's
Yeah.
very vivid because I kind of merge the two worlds. Even though I haven't directed a movie or written a movie, I feel like I am when I'm doing music. So,
Right.
but yeah, that's me, man. Married, 3 kids in Oklahoma, loving life, man. That's
Yeah,
about it.
man. Yeah, and that's why we're really excited to have you on here. I mean, like you say, you love movies so much so that you named a project after one of the biggest fandom movies out there. Uh, of course, you did misname it Dark Vader.
1 and 2.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, obviously, you know that it's not Dark Vader. That's a play on words, and
Right.
the character Darth Vader. But yeah, he made a whole project, two whole projects called Dark Vader. Go
Yeah.
check those out for sure. But yeah, we were excited. You're our first guest on this podcast,
Oh,
and
nice, man. I'm honored, dude.
yeah, man. So we're real excited to have you here. Talk movies, a little bit of music because we do have our composer battle coming up. This is going to
Yeah.
be it's actually our first round of the composer battle, so I'm not sure if you knew that, but the first round,
Mm.
and yeah, we'll talk that. We'll talk movies, and that's it. That's what we're going to do. That's what we do here. Actually, usually what we do is movie battles.
Yes.
So
Take our original and a remake, have them go against each other in multiple categories. We're not doing that today. That's next week.
yeah.
Okay.
That's our big thing. Actually, we're going to do Super Mario Brothers since that new movie just came out. So we're going to
Yeah.
battle out the new cartoon animated movie versus that old one. Have you seen the old one?
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, man.
We'll talk about it next week. I mean, it's got its downs for sure.
Yeah.
But we're going to pick out some little gems out of that movie. So stay
I
tuned.
need to rewatch it, man. I'm gonna rewatch it and then watch your episode next week just to kind of see.
You should
But
rewatch it.
yeah,
Because there's some
yeah,
movies that are just like the first time you watch them, it's one experience, but then when you go back later on, either you mature or you immature some more in some ways. You
right.
know, the effects, something changes somewhere, where you can either
Yeah.
appreciate it a little bit more or it reinforces what you thought in the first place. And
Right. Right.
so yeah, we'll see what you think about the rewatch of Mario Brothers, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do that for sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this podcast.
Yeah. You want to do a composer battle first?
Actually, no. Let's do our little business first.
Yes, business, which we definitely never forget.
Yeah, so follow us on all our socials, the Room Upstairs Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook. We're now on YouTube, the Room Upstairs Podcast. Follow us and like, subscribe, all that stuff. But more importantly, if you don't like and subscribe, just comment. Leave your thoughts on whatever it is that we're talking about or what you want us to talk about. That's why we're doing it. Part of the reason we're doing it is so we can engage and just talk about this stuff. Because we can talk about this stuff just between us, but we like to talk about it. There's other people that like to talk about it, so join us.
Yeah, we want the whole crew in this.
That's right. So yeah, find us, the Room Upstairs Podcast. And then Murray, why don't you go ahead and give your socials? They can find you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can find me everywhere. As far as the major platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all Dre Murray, the number 22.
Yeah.
At Dre Murray 22 for all of them. So
Well, you're sending mixed signals, man, because you got 23 on your jersey.
I know, man. I couldn't be 23 because that's a whole nother conversation. I have to step below.
Yeah.
So, but you can also go to DreMurray.com. That's where the Dark Vader projects live. Dark Vader 3 coming very soon. Vader Was Here is the subtitle, so be looking out for
Nice.
that as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll play a clip as our intro or something like that. Maybe the out.
Oh, dope.
Is that cool? Can we do that?
Yeah, for
We'll
sure.
add that in there.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started now.
All
What do we
right.
got first?
So first up, we got our composer battle.
Okay.
Last week, we drew names out of a hat. Because I put a lot of work into writing names and putting them in a hat.
We've got 32 composers. This guy wrote them all, and like halfway through, I was like, we could have just done this digitally, right? He's like, oh, well, I'm just... So,
So we drew two names. They're over there on my desk. They haven't been moved since then. We have Klaus Badelt, composer of the first Pirates of the Caribbean, the Time Machine movie, the Constantine movie. Real hits there.
yeah.
Versus Danny Elfman, who is Danny Elfman. We don't have to say anything else about that one.
Yeah. Do you know Klaus Badelt at all?
I mean, I know the score from Pirates of the Caribbean for sure.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Constantine, but I'm not 100%
That's the
sure.
Keanu Reeves flick.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen
Yeah, me either.
that. I don't really do Keanu Reeves unless it's John Wick or The Matrix.
Okay.
What was the second one? The second guy?
Danny Elfman?
Yeah, what did he do?
Danny Elfman, he did a little independent movie called called the Batman with Michael Keaton. He did all the Tim Burton stuff.
Oh,
All the Tim
okay,
Burton
okay,
stuff
okay,
basically is
okay.
what he's done.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Charlie and
Yeah.
the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie, yeah. Yeah, anything that's Tim Burton, that's Danny Elfman. He did the Simpsons theme song. Oh, you're not feeling him, huh?
Tim Burton, man. The Tim Burton.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Both
I'm a Nolan guy, man. I like the
Okay.
Nolan flicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we might have to bring you up
Hans
whenever we do
Zimmerman
the
and
Yeah.
Hans is in the battle. He's in the battle. We haven't pulled his
Okay.
name yet, but he's in the battle.
one day.
okay.
Yeah, he'll be further along in the rounds. But yeah, Hans is in
Yeah.
there. So are we gonna vote right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we want to give a little argument supporting either one.
Yeah. Whoever you vote for,
Yeah.
say why.
All right. I am Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman?
Just because on a pure iconic factor,
Yeah.
he has Batman and Spider-Man and The Simpsons. You can
Yeah.
play those for almost anyone and
point.
they're going to know.
They're gonna recognize it.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Klaus has Pirates, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But one is just one.
Okay. So your vote is Danny Elfman. All right. You want to go next?
Yeah, I would say, and pardon me because I don't really know anything about either of these guys, but
That's all right.
I would vote against Danny Elfman just because, like I said, those movies, like the one with Michael Keaton and even the Spider Mans with, I like them, but there's almost like this. We were just watching Spider Man 2
Mm,
actually. There's almost like this. I don't want to say cheesy. I'm trying to figure out the word. There's like a
yeah.
kid
Like
element
a
to it,
campiness
underbelly
kind of.
to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, camp. There you go. That's the word. To where, um, Pirates of the Caribbean is. That's why I called the project Dark Vader. Like
That's
the
more your
there's
style.
this dark
Yeah.
undertone. Yeah, the undertone is just even the scenery, it matches the music
Right.
perfectly. It's just like this grittiness to it that's not like bright and poppy and campy
Right.
and stuff. So I would roll with the first
Okay.
one.
So one for one. Okay.
All right.
So here's what I'm gonna say is I agree with you, Dre, as far as Klaus his music. Um, when you
Yeah.
hear it, I mean it's beautifully composed.
Yes.
There's a movie called Rescue Dawn, I think is what it's called, that he composed.
Mm.
If you could hear that, you could listen to that album. I mean, it's a like so much emotion in that album. I haven't seen the movie. I have no idea what the movie. It's some kind of war movie, I think.
But just through the
Yeah,
music,
it
you
is.
can
But the
instantly
have you seen
tell.
the movie?
I haven't, but I know I've
You
just
know
from
of it.
being on IMDb all the time. Like I know of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So war movie, but the music is beautiful. I was just hearing that album. I was like, man, this guy's good.
Yeah.
Like he's no joke. Pirates of the Caribbean is great. My voice just cracked.
Who is it this time?
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean is great. There was a few other ones in there that were pretty good, but there was also some snoozers.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to a bunch of his stuff, and he's got some good stuff, but he's also got some snoozers. And Danny Elfman just has hits everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's more of kind of like a who you know is what really makes you kind of thing. That's kind of what I feel like with Danny Elfman,
Yeah.
because he got in there with Tim Burton and
And that's
and
he's just at the top
that
almost
'89
instantly.
movie, like
Yeah.
just it was so big, and his score was so huge for that. Got in with The Simpsons,
Yeah.
and of course that's an iconic theme. And it's from there, it's like you know who Danny Elfman is now, and the more people you know, the more connected you are, the bigger opportunities you're gonna get. And I think that's
Right.
kind of what it is. And I don't know if this is on purpose by Klaus, obviously, because we don't know them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's purposely staying away or if he just hasn't met those right people. But I think talent wise, as far as composing music, Klaus Badelt is has the more beautiful music.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'm gonna vote for Danny Elfman.
I think it's the case of the shiny suits versus the Wu-Tang Clan, basically.
Yeah,
It's like the poppy hip hop versus the underground, and usually the underground artist is like, I don't want to intentionally not go in that route
right.
because this is authentic.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
kind of what it felt like when I was listening to both of their music. And but Danny Elfman has always been that like because he was part of Oingo Boingo,
Yeah.
where he had the Weird Science was I think the biggest hit. You know that song, Weird Science. That was Danny Elfman.
The movie
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really? See, campy,
exactly.
Yeah.
And he's always been
kitty,
he's
like
always been in
yeah,
that, and he just got a hold of it and took off.
Yeah.
So I can't really hate on him
yeah,
too much because I mean that's just how I think that's just how he
right.
is. Like Tim Burton is how he is, and I think Danny Elfman is how
Hmm.
he is. But he makes good stuff still. It's not like it's bad, you know. So
No,
so that's my vote. So that makes it 2-1 for Danny Elfman.
mm,
So he's gonna win the first round of
It was
this
a very hard
composer battle.
fight, though. Much like we were laughing when it started, but
Yeah,
it got very serious very fast.
yeah. When we pulled the names, it was like, dude, everybody knows Danny Elfman. Nobody knows Klaus.
Yeah.
And then I was hearing their stuff, and it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the main reason, just for the resume that Danny Elfman has compared to Klaus, I have to go with Danny.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
or fortunately, depending on
one
who
of
you ask.
us. Yeah,
That makes sense.
So anyway, that's the first round. Danny Elfman wins. If you disagree, you agree more with Murray, let us know.
This is what we want the engagement for.
That's right. Yeah, and we already pulled names for the second round.
That's true,
So-
because we're recording these in a weird way.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't remember who they were, but I got them.
remember
Okay,
who they
you
were.
remember? Yeah. Okay, so we pulled. This is going to be for the second round.
Yes.
And you guys feel free. You can go on Spotify, and we'll have a poll there also where you can vote which one you want to win. But this is the next round. Go ahead and announce.
All right, so the next composer battle will be Henry Jackman of fame for Uncharted 4, the video game, Captain America 2 and 3, and what's
Captain
the name
America
of that
2
movie?
and 3.
Yeah.
Nobody calls it that.
Well, I don't want to say The Winter Soldier and Civil War. That takes too long.
No, you just say the Winter Soldier Civil War.
Okay, fair enough. And what's the King Kong movie that's not the older one? The newer one.
Skull Island.
Skull Island,
yeah.
that one.
You said X-Men?
And X-Men, yes.
So that's Henry Jackman.
Yes.
And who's he going up against?
Going up against a real titan of an entirely different industry, Koji Kondo, who has been working with Nintendo since the golden beginning NES days, and has composed music for the Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda series up until very recently.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I first pulled these names, I also was like, this is going to be pretty easy.
But it's not.
I've been listening to their stuff. Even if I go back to like the original Mario's theme with the 8-bit sound, it's still pretty complex.
Yeah. They use every tool at their advantage.
Yeah.
What's crazy, I saw a post on Instagram about a month ago, and it was like, did you know where the Super Mario's theme, do you know where the Super Mario's theme came from? Like it was basically a sample. Like there's a band, a Japanese band.
Interesting.
I forget the name. I looked it up. I can send it to you after this. I looked it up and listened, and it's just a small. It was basically like
He was doing hip-hop.
A hip hop producer. Yeah, he took just this small part of the song that is like a break in the music, just like a break in hip hop, and he created this whole theme out of it. And he's never hid. He didn't hide it. He said where he got the inspiration for it from. But the song sounds nothing like it until it gets to this one part, and then also the dunna 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 dunna. He got that from somewhere too. A completely different band as well.
Wow, that's interesting.
But yeah, it's a sample. It's a hip hop sample.
Yeah, man. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little tidbit.
I had to send you that.
Yeah.
It was pretty dope.
Yeah, I want to check that out. We'll try and link that too. If once you send it, I'll try and link that up here. That way everybody can check that out. But yeah, so that's the next round.
Yeah.
Koji Kondo versus Henry Jackman should be another good one. Like I said, go to Spotify and hit that poll button.
Yeah.
So
we're ready.
But congratulations to Danny Elfman. He moves on to the next round.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Well, we've got one more business update.
Oh yeah.
We have made a promise. Every week we have to give an update on Conan the Barbarian 3.
How do you feel about Conan?
In general? My childhood, man. Like, I didn't know that they were making a 3 though. Like, I don't even think I've seen 2, but I just, all I can remember or the part that sticks out in my head is the mirror scene.
Oh yeah.
With
That's actually the second one with that
and
monster. Yeah.
Is that part
that's
2?
The second one.
Where he doesn't know which one is which.
Hitting it with the sword.
Okay. Well, then I did see 2. Yeah. Okay, so I did see 2. I mean, I was so young when I saw it, but yeah, I love those movies.
And so
Classic.
I don't know if you remember the very end of the first one where it just shows the picture of him like kind of sitting, and it's just got like what's it called, the words, like you just,
Like a title?
yeah, where you just read why he's sitting down.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't know what it's called. It's like
I
a
don't know
title
what
card
that's
or
called.
something.
Yeah.
But it's just a picture, just
yeah.
his image, kind of zooming out. He's just sitting on his throne, and it says like Conan is now a king or whatever, and whatever it says, I don't remember. But it's this iconic image of him sitting down, and kind of hinting that like there's going to be more Conans, and he's going to be the king now, and
Mm,
whatever his adventure is going to be at that point. But it never materialized. They actually made a part two, which was cool, but this King Conan story never happened. So that's what they're planning
mm,
on now. 'Cause, you know, Arnie's back making movies, and he's old now, so he's
yeah.
like got that kind of look that he
Yeah.
did in that image, and so that's what they're working on, and that's what I'm really excited about because I'm a big Conan fan.
See, man, now I gotta go back and watch. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff you gotta go back and watch. Uh,
Yeah, I
it-
did that with Willow,
oh
too.
yeah, did you watch that series?
Yeah, I've started it,
Yeah.
but I had to jump back and do the movie, and then the series came out,
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm doing this at the same time. Like I got to focus on one
Right,
at
right.
one time. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch the series at all. It got canceled now. Um, so I don't know
Oh,
if it's
really?
yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's any good.
Yeah. I
I
don't
mean, but
know.
nobody watched it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, right?
Yeah. I won't watch Ant,
Right.
but
Yeah.
you know.
Andor is another. What do you think about Andor?
Yeah.
See,
I
that's
love it.
like right in your alley, I feel like. Because Andor is definitely like got
It's
that dark kind of vibe to it and just like really
not only,
story driven, really
yes, yes.
a lot of imagery, you know, that's I feel like that's you.
Yeah, not only that, some of my friends don't like it, like the Star Wars nerds, because they were like, it's too much dialogue.
Right.
But
No,
I'm
that's
the
what felt good
opposite.
about it.
I know, like it depends on how you know, what type of
Yeah.
story you like. And the older I get, like I go back and look at some of the shows that we probably turned off when we were younger that our parents are watching, where it's all this dialogue in the heat of the night and
Hmm.
all these cop shows. And Andor is like that. It's like a grown up Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Like my kid couldn't watch it. Like he's just turned 7 and he's like, what is going on? Like
Right.
it's too much talking.
He's waiting
You
for
know
the
what I mean?
blast.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the story building.
Yeah, I
You
thought it
know
was
what I mean?
I thought it was the best show that they've put out since they started Disney Plus, probably.
Yep. Yep.
Um, you know, not counting them adding like Daredevil, Punisher, that kind of stuff, but the actual Disney show. I think that was the best one.
Yep.
And
I agree.
a
I
lot of people
agree.
just don't like it for whatever, or just didn't give it a chance, really. So
Hmm.
anyway, just because you haven't watched it doesn't mean it's bad. That was my point.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Willow.
I
Uh,
also haven't watched it. So
haven't watched it, but back to Conan,
yes.
the update.
The update. We don't have one.
Yes, all that to say, there is nothing new to report. Yeah, the last thing, since you probably didn't hear the last update, which that's when we actually had some news, is they had Arnie's very interested in doing the movie. There's a script, everything's ready. They just don't have a studio that's willing to put it out. So
Wow.
that's what we're waiting for. So you guys make it
Not
trend.
even Netflix?
Not,
Not
you
even
know,
Netflix?
Netflix had a deal with them for a while. It was a few years back. Netflix had a deal to do a series, not a movie, just a series. And I think at that point, the owner of the one whoever had the copyright or whatever to Conan said no or something. And
Really?
anyway, it fell through. So yeah, not Netflix.
Huh.
So
He's doing ads with Netflix here lately, though.
yeah,
Like,
I seen that.
so I wonder if, I mean, maybe that's like, you do this for us, we'll make it work,
Right.
pay above and beyond to get, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of random and weird to see him in these Netflix ads.
Well,
It
he's
kind
got
of
a
threw
new
me
show
off.
on Netflix.
I know, but I'm saying even the show, like that whole situation
Oh,
just threw
sure,
me off
sure.
because he's
Oh, for
Arnold
sure.
Schwarzenegger. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Block Arnold. Like it's not Netflix Arnold. It just
Yeah.
threw me off.
Yeah. Well, and we had talked about that before, how Netflix, even any of the streaming services now, it's not really that detrimental to the I want to say artist, it's not actor.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like if you go back to VHS days, right? If you went straight to to VHS, like you're nobody. That doesn't,
Right.
forget it. Your career's done.
Right.
Now, if you go straight to streaming, it ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it was weird seeing Arnold there, but I also like, okay, that kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the Conan update for now. Nothing new, unfortunately, but we're still waiting in anticipation.
Yes. One day we will be here.
We're gonna have the breaking news for you. What's next?
All right. Next up, this came out a few days before we went to go watch Spider-Verse, and so we just got the honor of watching it for the first time in the theater. That is the Ninja Turtles trailer for the new animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think of the new Ninja Turtle movie?
I
Have you
love
seen the
it
trailers?
for two reasons. Number one, my son like fell in love with Ninja Turtles, and I can remember getting in trouble for not sneaking out of the house, but not telling my mom where I was going and going with a friend to see the Ninja Turtles movies, or
Yeah.
the first one in theaters, and really getting in trouble for that. But I loved it so much, and to see him like fall in love
Didn't
with
even
it,
matter,
it didn't matter, man. Like I'm down for whatever punishment you're gonna give me to see that.
huh?
But to see him like fall in love with it is amazing, man.
Yeah.
And so he was excited about it. I got excited about it. But then number two, the voice actors that they have in it are,
Mm.
Actual kids.
yeah. And then like Ice Cube is voicing one of them, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just twofold. Like I mean, my childhood on one end, and then you got childhood and the music is just. So I'm excited
Mm.
to see what they do with it, but happy that they're continuing to put stuff out. That they didn't die like He-Man or, you know,
Right.
Thundercats or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because Ninja Turtles has had its flops.
Right, absolutely.
So
But they
Michael
keep
Bay
going.
movies.
yeah, it's always interesting why they choose certain
Yeah.
ones, not others. But yeah, dude, me too. When I saw that first trailer, I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. I'm still not convinced with the voices though. I don't know that I like them being little kids.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just me feeling weird, like, oh, I can't wait to watch this movie with little kids talk. Like it just feels kind of weird.
yeah,
Maybe that's what it is. Um, but it looks really good, and of course, I love that they played Tribe for
yes,
their
yes,
intro music. I thought that was good.
yeah,
But the animation, of course, borrowing from Spider-Verse.
Borrowing from Spider-Verse, but a little darker and more consistent throughout
hmm
the entirety.
hmm
Yeah, so it definitely looks interesting. I'm excited for it. That new trailer looks pretty good too. It gave you saw Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah. That's when we saw the trailer for Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So that one kind of showed like what the story was gonna be, rather than that first trailer. It really didn't say anything in that first trailer. This one kind of explained the story, which it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
right.
I'm with it. So
Yep,
yeah, looking forward to it.
yep.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. It's a good movie summer.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's just hit after hit after hit.
yeah, man, I might have to go get a pass. We talked about that earlier. Get a movie pass because there's just a bunch of stuff. We haven't even seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet. What do you got next?
All right, so just continuing our journey, essentially, as we were in the Spider-Verse theater, another trailer that came out we did not watch yet, The Flash,
Yeah.
has another trailer. I didn't want to watch it because I just want to watch the movie at this point. There have been so many trailers. But we watched it anyway because it just played.
Because it was in the movies. Yeah, and it still looks awesome. I mean,
It's more of the same, but it looks good.
yeah, you can tell me what you think about the new Flash movie, but we were excited about it after we saw the first trailer. We're like, okay, this looks pretty good, and I mean, this newest trailer doesn't change that. It doesn't show anything different. It doesn't show anything new.
Right.
It just still looks like it's going to be a pretty enjoyable movie.
Just had really good music.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
You with it, or you thumbs down on it?
I'm not really a
Oh,
Flash
because
guy,
you got the
and
Tim Burton Batman in there. That's
that's
why,
what I
huh?
was. Yeah, and that's what that was. I was about to say that, but I didn't want to harp on that. But that kind of threw me off because it's just like, I mean, I had such a good experience with the Nolan run and the
Mhm.
darkness of it and the complicated characters. Like Bane was just this complicated
Yeah.
almost Darth Vader figure.
Mm.
And I just just have resonated with me. So to see Keaton, like I was 8 years old when Michael Keaton was Batman to begin with,
Yeah.
and you know, Danny DeVito was walking around, and it's like kiddie stuff, man. Like so, I don't know. And the Flash just seems like a I've never really liked that character for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and me too. Like I've never been a big Flash fan. Batman and Superman were always my biggest DC ones.
Hmm.
But it just looks like it'll be entertaining. Like I'm not expecting this to be this super intricate, super like deep movie like the Nolan version or even the Matt Reeves Batman. Like I'm not expecting that. I'm just expecting like
Kind of
cool
like
visuals.
an Aquaman kind of thing. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it could be cool.
yeah. Even
Not
though
horrible.
Aquaman was mid to me, uh,
It was.
but yes, just expecting like it's gonna be a fun movie. That's what I'm expecting. Have a good time at the movies, and that's good enough for me for that movie. Uh, and because it's gonna talk to my childhood, like you
Yeah.
said with that Batman and whatever else. So
They kind of bit off of
that's
Marvel though. You gotta,
Yeah.
oh, dude. I
you
mean
know,
the whole
That's DC the past 10 years.
yeah,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, man.
Oh, we'll
That's
bring
definitely a
all the
whole
Batmans, all the Batmans. It's like, we haven't seen this before at all.
right, exactly, man. But that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't expect this really deep movie. It's just gonna be fun to yeah. There's Ben Affleck as Batman. We get to see him a little bit more, and there's Michael Keaton from when I was a kid, and Zod's back. Uh,
Supergirl for the first time.
yeah, Supergirl
Mm,
and like just that visual of the Batwing up against the moon.
yeah,
It looked cool.
Yeah.
So like, we'll get that, and that's all I want from them at this point.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get that. um, so yeah, next.
Yeah. Well,
That's enough of the Flash.
yeah. Uh, this is our last thing.
Okay.
This is Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
We have a lot to say about this.
yeah,
Yeah, let's go in on this
yeah.
because there's a lot. I mean, this is a 3 hour movie, or almost three
Two and
hours.
a half hour. The
Yeah.
longest animated movie of all time
Whew.
Wow,
for now.
All right.
wow.
So initial thoughts. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. What's yours?
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah.
Same. What'd you think, man?
Um, Obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I guess some people don't like it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Just like you guys. The one thing that I will say is, unfortunately, but maybe fortunately, it's a multiple watching. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
has like you
So
have
much
to.
stuff
You
going
can't
on.
just watch it. Yeah, you can't watch it one time. And because of the graphics and the animation and the way that it looks on screen, like I'm just hoping that streaming doesn't hinder the experience. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, so you have to see it in theaters multiple times. Like, it's just like families going to see it. They're going to
right.
need a pass, basically. To see it multiple times.
Yeah, just for that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. And that's where I'm kind of reserved as far as where I'm gonna put this in um, in the best movie category, right? Because
mm,
I did this for the Avengers, for Endgame, and for Infinity War, right? Both great movies. First time you watch them, I mean, it was amazing watching them. I don't know if you watched them in theaters or
yep,
if what you did, but like in theaters was a whole different experience.
Yeah.
hmm,
Um, and but when you think of each movie individually, I can't put those movies up at the top as like the best movies because they're they're one movie split into two parts. So you watch
right,
one, like it's good and entertaining, but you really need the other one to cap it
right,
off.
right,
Uh, and it's kind of the same thing with this movie so far. Like great first watch. I
Once.
recommend everybody definitely go out and watch it. It's a lot of fun, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You are going to need multiple watches. I can't wait for it to come out on DVD or streaming because that's probably the
yeah,
next place we're going to watch it. Um,
yeah,
but I'm not sure if it's going to be like top, you know.
Yeah. I would say the first one is probably better just because it is one story.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite obviously just half of one.
Yeah.
But it's still so good.
So good. Like you said, so much going on. I don't know, what are some favorite parts?
All right, just every animation style blending together is amazing. Like
Yeah.
as soon as they introduce Vulture at the start, and he has all the little
man.
like formulas around his wings as he's doing different things.
Yeah. So definitely we're going to have spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
At least a few. I'll try to keep them to a minimum, but there'll be some.
It's impossible,
Yes.
man.
Yeah. But okay, here's the good thing about it though. Like even with some spoilers, we're not going to cover everything.
Right,
And
right.
even knowing some of the stuff that probably we'll say,
You just have to see
you
it.
could still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
it's just done so well. But yes, the Vulture, his animation, and we talked about it. Like, why did they use
Yeah, who
that?
thought of that?
Why
was
this
like, this would
Leonardo
be-
da Vinci time
Yeah.
Vulture? You know, like I don't know if he's an actual character from the comics, and I don't know why they decided to use him.
I think just because, why not?
Maybe it was. Do you know anything about that?
From what I heard, man, this other podcast that I listen to that covers movies, and they got an early screening of it and kind of know some of the backstory. Spot, number one, was deep cut in the comics. Like he was
Right.
a character that wasn't really. He was a villain that. They said if you would have told me Spot was the villain in this movie, I probably wouldn't have. Well, I would have went to see it, but I wouldn't have expected much because it's kind of
Yeah.
like, what can you get from Spot? So I
Right.
guess
And yet,
they said they had to have a person that all they did was dig into the comics and find jewels and gems of just deep cuts and things that people may have forgotten about or really didn't know the full story behind, and they kind of expanded or expounded on that what they found in the comics. So
Mhm.
I think same thing happened with that character, is that they found a little bit of something and kind of expounded on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
interestingly, Spot was not supposed to be in the movie originally. As they were writing the script, one of the producers came to the writers and said, "Hey, I want to put this character in." And the writers said no at first, but the more the producer explained who the character was, the more the writers said, "Okay, sure,
we can make this work.
yeah."
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
they did.
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
when I first saw Spot as the villain, I was like, this.
Who is this?
Yeah, I was like, what? How is he a threat? How
Yeah.
is he anybody that I even care about? I have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
Because I follow movies more than I do in comic books, right? Like
hmm
if you talk about comic book, like all these guys, I don't know them.
Yeah.
But if they've been in movies, I probably know them.
Right.
But yeah, so the Spot definitely not on my radar. And when I saw him in the movie too, they made him really silly and everything at the beginning. And I was like, this guy's funny. Like it's a good time, but I mean,
Perfect
he'll be
setup.
gone. Yeah. And by the end, like
He's
this dude is a threat.
terrifying. Yeah,
And they did such a good job building him up.
yeah.
Yeah, he was something else.
Just-
So
Like going back to the animation,
Mm-hmm.
the way they make him a threat is even in the animation. Like he doesn't fit any of the art styles. He's like a living piece of ink staining every other kind of art, which I think is just so cool.
there was so much thought in this movie. And we were talking about this too, going back to the first one. And anybody that's following any kind of any fandom for Spider-Verse, I'm sure they've seen like the colored background of Miles when it goes from purple to like red and blue. Have you seen that?
Yes. Yep.
So that was an interesting thing that you won't catch until you watch the second one.
Yeah.
Then you understand like, oh, okay, I see why
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
But it happened so quickly also in the first movie that you really don't pay attention to it. The spider glitching because it came from a different like I just thought that was part of the cool animation in the first one,
Right.
but
Right.
it actually had a point.
Yeah.
Yep.
They knew the
Yep.
entire time.
So many things that they knew already. I mean, I question that if they knew it or not, or if they just happened to like, you know what, we used this in the first one. Let's just go ahead and add it to this
Yeah.
new story. I don't know which one it is, but either way, there's a lot of Easter eggs if you go back and watch the first one now.
Hmm.
So, man, allergies killing me. Yeah, so that was done. That was done awesome. Who was your favorite Spider-Man?
It was Spider-Punk. I'm a
Spider-Punk?
Spider-Punk guy through and through.
You too?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah. He was like when he came on the scene, I remember the one part where I was like, "Oh, he's like rebellion. Like he's a part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
The He figured out already that we are not the good guys. Like he figured it out from the jump, but
Mm,
he was,
hmm.
I think, in his mind the whole time he wanted to save Miles. Like the whole time, it's kind of like he knew that Miles was the one.
Yeah.
Um, but the one line where he's like, I forgot what happened right before that, but it's when he jumps through and he's like, "I'm done with this," or
Oh yeah.
I'm finished with
Yeah.
this," or
Oh, I
something like
quit.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quit. It was like he was waiting to say that. He knew it
Right.
already.
He
That like
wanted
I'm
to.
just buying my time.
It's like
I'm just buying
he
my
was trying
time
to
and I'm
vet
quit.
Miles. Like he was trying to make sure that Miles was legit. Like
Yeah.
he can trust him. Or
Make sure that he's the one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He was definitely a standout because of his animation and his personality and everything.
Yeah.
I thought the India Spider-Man was really funny.
Yeah. It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
fun addition.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in the new movie.
I'll say my favorite character was Spider-Punk. The best character is either Miles or Gwen, and I was not expecting it to almost be Gwen.
I
Mm,
like that they gave Gwen more of a story in this.
Yeah.
You know, like it started off
Yeah, it
being
starts off and
her.
it's her voice. I was like, what's happening right now?
yeah,
You're not a main
yeah.
character.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Which is a callback too to the first one. That's another callback to the first
Was
one.
Yeah.
it? Did she start off in the
Yeah,
first one, or was it?
she started off how Miles started off. It
That's
was a
right.
flip flop
That's
of what
right.
Miles did.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think it's interesting too how they keep bringing back the uh, their beginnings, their origins. Like, all right, let's do this one more time,
Yeah.
and each Spider-Man
hmm
does that because they've done it so many times. But each time, I still want to see it.
Yeah. It's like, what are they gonna
You know what
do
I mean?
with
It's
it
not like
this
I
time?
don't get tired of it.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same. I mean, it's not a joke, but it's the same uh, bit, I guess. But it's
yeah,
still interesting, and I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They find a way to make it still work and feel like it's part of the story.
Yeah.
hmm
These the Are the directors the same? Are also the writers?
I believe
No.
so. Yeah. Are they not?
No.
Different director this time.
Oh,
Oh.
Uh,
then the first one.
from what I read, yeah, different director, which was another thing. This podcast that I listened to, they said that Spot, the fact that Spot was the villain, and then that there was a new director, like you mix in those two, and it's like a recipe for disaster
Right.
Yeah.
normally because the movies that we love when they get a new director, you
Mm-hmm.
got a different villain popping up. It's kind of like
The visions
I don't
aren't
know, but
matching
this
anymore.
Yeah.
they nailed it. It's like there was no hiccup in the storyline at all.
They obviously were all on board on the same
Right.
idea.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and that's like I was trying to pick out bad stuff from this movie, and anything bad that I can pick out didn't really affect the story itself. It was just like um,
Like inconsistencies,
small
kind of.
inconsistencies, not like a major thing, just a small inconsistency. Like I'm holding the guitar, but now it's on this, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm,
I can't think of any right now off the top of my head, but that's the kind of stuff it was, which that doesn't happen, you know? Like usually you could
hmm
pick out like there's a big hole right here, you know, even in Endgame and Infinity War, the whole time travel thing, people are like picking that apart, you know? And for
hmm
this one, it's like I can't really find any. Maybe second, third watch,
Yeah.
we
Then we'll
could
be
find
like,
some
but why
things.
didn't they do that the first time?
Oh, there was definitely like there was something that happened that I was like, you know, it would have just been easier if they did this. But again, it really didn't matter. So I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Music wise,
It's better than the first one.
you think it's better?
I think it's definitely better.
Hmm.
He goes all in on mixing different instruments and sounds.
Yeah. So you're
It's
talking about score, like the actual
score-wise,
score?
yeah.
Okay. And the soundtrack, because the soundtrack, like the actual songs, I thought from the first one they were better.
Yeah.
You have an opinion on that?
Mm. I thought this one was, as far as like you said, the mix of everything was, as far as the sounds that they use. But how was your actual sound in the theater that you guys were in? Was the beginning low?
So I didn't have a problem hearing anything.
Okay, so in our theater, the beginning was like super low,
Hmm.
and what I've heard from the early screenings is that um, the crew was, basically telling the audience to make sure that you let your theaters know
Mm,
that they should have their sound set at
right.
XYZ, because a lot of theaters weren't taking the instruction and just doing whatever they wanted to do, but based on how they mixed the audio,
Yeah.
you have to have it at a certain
So
at a
that
certain
would
level.
explain, because that's the
That's
biggest
interesting.
complaint that I saw online was people saying that
Yeah.
they had bad audio, and that would explain why they
Hmm.
mixed it a specific way,
Yeah.
and they just weren't
Yep.
doing it. It was like it's got to be in stereo, and people are just like, no, let's just go mono, it's fine,
Yeah.
and it makes a difference.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, we didn't have that problem, so
Luckily. Yeah.
yeah, they paid attention over here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Cool. What else you got on this, man?
All right. The Lego scene, which I was not
Oh, that was
expecting.
another crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm sure you probably know the backstory on this already. How it was animated by a 14-year-old
Mm-hmm.
who uh, did the first trailer for this movie, reanimated the entire thing in Lego,
Yeah.
and then the directors saw her and were like, "Hey, can you do a scene for us?"
Yeah. That is so wild.
Wow, I didn't know
No.
that.
Yeah. I'm sure you could find the trailer online, but yeah, he did the whole first trailer, and they were just so impressed. And that just doesn't happen.
Yeah. No.
Uh, like, yeah, just go ahead and do a piece for our big time movie, 14-year-old child that
That's
we have no idea who
crazy.
you are. And he did it,
It's
and it was
crazy.
still good.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never known it was, done by a non-professional,
Yeah.
right? That was wild. But yeah,
That is
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I got to give props to the directors for that too, for just, giving a chance to some upcoming kid, you know.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. I mean.
I wish I had taken notes of the guy's name so I could say his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You just type in 14-year-old kid Lego movie or Lego scene,
Yeah.
and you'll find him.
Man, I just still am thinking about the movie is the thing. We saw it a week ago, and I'm still just contemplating it.
Yeah.
Like,
In a good way though.
in a good way. It's just sitting there.
Yeah. Have you seen Interstellar?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Who,
Oh,
me?
that's Nolan.
Of course, it's seen it.
Man, we put on Interstellar sometime as like background,
Oh
like
yeah. While you're in
the
the studio.
score, Hans, like no, just in the house. Like
Oh, okay.
that's our movie, especially like my oldest, potentially she has two fields she may go into. One of them, she wants to be an astrophysicist. So
Oh,
like
nice.
the whole story and what they're talking about science wise,
Oh, yeah.
mine too. Like that's, so yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this movie. I think it was last week or the
I
week
think so.
before, and he just said like, he was contemplating on the Spider-Verse movie, and we've seen it a week ago. We were doing that with Interstellar
Yeah.
because we watched it,
Hmm.
and then like a week later, we're still talking about it. Like, what about? But it wasn't so much in a positive light. It wasn't negative, but it was more of like, why did all these things happen in this movie?
Hmm. Hmm.
And maybe your astrophysicist daughter will
Be able to
understands it
explain it
better
to
than
us a little
yeah,
better.
yeah, better than
Hmm.
we did. We just weren't smart enough to get it. Like what did we just watch? But first watch, it blew me away for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
a bad movie by any
No, no,
means.
no.
No, no.
But I
And
think I think that I just didn't get it in the
I
end.
remember. leaving the theater with that effect. Like we sat in the car, me and my brother-in-law, and kind of stared at each other like, what? And then we went home and made our wives watch it, and they were kind of like, what is it? It's not. It's a doozy of a movie, man. You know,
Yeah, yeah, for
throw
sure.
you
I
for a
mean,
loop.
Inception and I haven't seen Dunkirk, but I feel like that's kind of the same.
Tenet is
Hmm
supposed to be like that.
Mm-hmm. You seen all those?
Inception. Crazy enough, I own Inception, but I've only
Hmm.
seen it once, and I it's so it just like your brain, like my brain can't handle it because I have to be like paying attention to it. If
Oh
I
yeah,
turn my head for 1 second, I'm like, I might as well just turn this off because I don't understand what
right.
just happened. So yeah, so I've only seen it once.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's we. You saw that not too long. I mean, it's been months now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he loved it.
Also, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for not being a Nolan fan.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, he's not a big Nolan fan. Not, not, not,
Really?
uh, not, not his movies, just his directing style.
Maybe that's
Really?
fine, but you know,
Yeah.
What about his directing style?
I just personally find it a bit plain, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Like
Plain?
it's very clear, and that's good. And I like for the complexity of the story, that's very
You mean you can figure it
necessary.
out beforehand? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, like
Okay.
visually, like I just find it pretty plain. Like the effects are always really good for sure, but
Hmm
just the framing of everything is very simple, which I don't think is necessarily bad because you need that when you have
hmm
complex visuals and storytelling happening all the time. But
Yeah. Something about it, huh?
something about I don't know.
Yeah. I we try to understand it last time too, and it's just I don't
I don't get it. I don't know.
to each their own.
Yeah. Same with like writing styles.
Yeah.
There's some people I just don't like their writing style.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing against them.
Yeah.
I just doesn't click.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that
That's awesome.
happens. So yeah.
Yeah.
Which
That's awesome. Like I don't
this
like
guy
burden, so
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
this guy he said he'll battle rap you.
No, I didn't.
That's not what you said last night. Hey, he he uh he Eminem'd a dude before 8 Miles.
Really?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
oh yeah. He wrote a diss against somebody just for the sheer disrespect of it. Like,
Okay, that's
I'm
true.
gonna write a diss
Wow.
about you, and he wrote it, and he went to him, and he did his thing, and the kid was like, "I ain't got nothing, nothing."
That's true.
That's awesome,
That's
man.
true. I have it saved somewhere. I have no idea where it is.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it's legend out here in Beggs.
That's hip hop at its core, man. Like like the you remember in the 80s the whole dance battles and like I wish that we understood the concept of what that was. Like many people, hip hop is framed in a negative way, but
Mhm.
like the fact that you wrote a song and then performed it for somebody instead of coming to the school and attacking that person
Right,
is
that's way
like
better.
that's conflict resolution. Yeah, that's
Right.
like, it's a great thing, man. It's a replacement for violence a lot
Yeah.
of times.
Wow, we need more. We
Yeah.
need more diss tracks.
Yes. Yes. Get it off your
You
chest
heard it here. Dre
and
Murray
then move
supports diss
on.
tracks.
Just not towards me. Just
Oh
not
yeah,
towards me.
there you go. Yeah, because you'll cause some violence, huh?
No, 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 no.
You'll bring that Houston out of you.
Yeah.
All right, what more Spider-Man stuff we got?
uh,
You got anything specific that stands out to you?
Man, the one thing that was how the people that I listen to on this podcast, they highlighted it, and I kind of like breezed past it during the movie, but thinking back on it, it was like, oh yeah, I was kind of tearing up, or almost teared up. Like the relationship between Miles and his dad,
Mm,
and the fact that they had his mom and his dad play an important role in the movie, like without Miles a lot of times. So you
Right.
have this conversation going on between them about raising him, and then you have this conversation about, moms and their sons and going from a small boy to, you know, a young man, and then you got the dad, which I can relate to. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you can as well. It's kind of like you're raising this son to try to be better than what you were, and you feel insecure and
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're not doing a good job, and it's like, what am I? And then the way that they put Miles in the middle of that, like the conversation he had with his dad when he was Spider-Man, and he's like, maybe you should let him spread his wings. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I think about like what are my kids thinking? Because that's what Miles was thinking. Maybe you should let
Right.
me spread my wings, right, and be who I want to be. Um, what are my kids thinking? What are your kids
Mm-hmm.
thinking? Like, what are they thinking about us as parents and what we should be allowing them to do? Are we hindering their progress?
Mm-hmm.
Are we keeping them from being superheroes in a
Mm-hmm.
sense? Um, so that stuck out to me, man. I thought that was really well done, and I think it kind of went. I think that was for us.
Right.
That was for the
The adults
the
watching.
adults and the parents in the
Sure.
room. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, man. They're able to catch it because they got some of that in the first movie too. Um,
Yeah.
they hit those emotions
Yeah.
just right. And
Yep.
man, there was something I was gonna say on that slipped my mind. Shoot, what was it? It was real deep too, man. It was gonna be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Was that like?
Was it about Gwen and her father? Because
Oh, I
that
forgot
was
about
good
that.
no,
too.
it was
Gwen and her
about that
father. That
whole.
was
It was about
amazing,
that whole
man.
idea of the father parent son thing. But
Yeah.
I have no idea what it was. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm sure they'll
Oh,
touch on that.
Oh, the
Hmm? Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just the fact that, and this isn't a spoiler, but the whole you get promoted to captain and you die thing,
Yeah.
like,
It,
you remember the line where um, he's like, "Oh, I think it was the Indian Spider-Man. I love being
yeah.
Spider-Man." And I think Gwen said, "Oh, you must not have been Spider-Man for too long," because she knew
Right, because he was like,
about
it's so easy.
the captain
oh, that
promotion
was
thing.
another easy
Yeah, it's
adventure for
so easy
Spider
being
Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like there's this undertone of like sadness and darkness and sacrifice, essentially. Like, this
Right.
has to happen. This is what you sacrifice to be
Hmm.
Spider-Man. Um, and that whole thing was like, oh man, like, you know, coming to that realization and then dealing with that. You want to be Spider-Man, you're doing this good work, but dude, your
Mm,
dad's got to die in order for this to
yeah.
take place. That was like, man, like, you knew this already, type of
Right.
thing. Like, you
Yeah,
didn't
and they
warn me.
expanded they
Like, you
expanded
didn't
on
tell
that,
me.
later on in the movie, which was cool, how like that was supposed to
Yeah,
happen and it didn't. And
right,
which is going to make for an
right.
interesting second part because now he's part of the team and
Hmm.
he hasn't had that tragedy, but Miles is changing that whole idea of
Yeah.
there has to be a
Yeah,
canon. Well, he's like, mm, maybe there doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And so
right,
that,
Yeah.
to explore
right.
that
Exactly,
whole idea
exactly.
is going to be pretty interesting
Yeah.
as long as they do that.
I was just reading
Yeah.
something and someone made this really cool observation about it that on its own the story works really well with this idea of the canon events
Mhm.
and these things that have to happen for a person to be Spider-Man. But then you take it to like a meta commentary level and it's this whole other story of you need conflict in a story for that story to continue, for a
Hmm.
character in a story to continue. And if you take that conflict away, this character can't grow, the story can't grow, and you destroy that story. And
Mhm.
that's what's happening with the universe. Is each
Hmm.
universe is a story,
Mhm.
and it's like almost commentary on like comics and movies. Like, oh, you're not allowing things in the movies to change. You're not allowing the status quo to morph or shift or whatever,
Mhm.
and you're destroying what you've created.
Yeah. I mean, oh, this is what I was going to say actually, because we're talking about an animated like fantasy movie. Really, there's no Spider-Mans, right?
Right.
There's no multiverses that we know of. There's no dimensions, right? Like, so we're talking about these crazy things. Um, and then what you said about the parents, and that whole relationship, they're taking these wild ideas about all kinds of stuff, but then they ground it back
Yes.
to like a reality
Hmm.
that we can actually connect
Yep.
with, and they do it so well.
Hmm.
I think that's the important part in why like the live action Marvel multiverse isn't doing too well is it's way more focused on the grand scale like oh we're going to lose
Right.
everything.
That
But if you don't ground each world with characters and people that you know and that you care about then what's the point?
that's very possible why it's not the same.
Yep.
Because this movie is like, I mean, it
Every time you
connects on
go
so
to a
many
new
different levels.
every time you go to a new universe, you instantly have a character that you know a lot about
Right.
and that you care about for one reason or another.
Yeah. Yeah. Great job, Spider-Verse guys.
Yeah,
I mean, amazing movie. Definitely go watch it.
Yeah.
for sure.
Can't wait for part 3.
I know.
Yeah. March 29th.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they
Less than
stick
a
to it.
year.
Got it locked in on the calendar.
Yeah. As long as there are no
I
delays.
know.
Yeah,
I
man.
know, man.
Are you keeping up with the writer's strike at all?
I'm not because, and to be completely honest, because I'm not really. I say this. I don't. I don't want to sound like you know. I don't know if selfish is the right word, but it doesn't really affect me. Um,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
or I shouldn't say it doesn't affect me. I don't feel the effects, or at least I'm not aware of the effects. I'm sure there's some sort of real world
Right.
effect that's taking place. Somebody's wrote think pieces about it that you should really care about this type thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, I haven't really kept up with it this time. The last one, or one of the ones previously, I did because it really affected my shows. Like, you know, I don't. This is kind of a super dark reference, but Dexter was like one of my shows back in the day,
Uh,
and it just tanked. It just tanked during the strike.
right. Because it was during the writer's strike.
Yeah, and
Mm.
it just never. That's the reason why they tried to bring it back last year to kind of wrap up the story.
Oh,
It
okay.
was like because they got so much backlash during that strike. It's like, what are y'all doing? So yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't this
Yeah,
time.
and it's still a little early on where we're not really seeing any of the effects, but hopefully it doesn't drag on too long,
Yeah.
and then we won't see any of the effects of
Right.
some of these shows that we like. I mean, we already know some movies and shows got pushed back,
Hmm.
um, but you know, as long as it gets resolved pretty quickly, we won't have to see a whole lot, and we can keep going on like nothing's ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find some old stuff to watch.
Yeah, we gotta catch up.
It's good. That's it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot to say on it, but I know you got to get going too, Murray.
No,
So
it's whatever,
we're
man.
gonna,
It's whatever.
yeah. Oh well, then we got another hour.
Yeah.
Oh, see?
No, that was my power. That was my power deal.
Oh man, that was perfect
I
timing. If
know.
that wasn't
Yeah.
you,
No, that wasn't me at all.
that is funny, man. But you got anything else on Spidey?
Like I said, it was just good, man. It was really good, and I can't wait for one last thing, the
Yeah.
ending. Like I'm sure a lot of people, because they kept this under wraps, I think pretty well. Unless I was just under a rock, I didn't know that there was, this was the first half of a story. So I'm like,
Ah,
how are they gonna wrap this up? Like,
yeah.
I hear the music, and I know what happens when that music is playing
Right.
Yeah.
in the background, and it was such a moment. And then when he starts, reaching down like he's trying to get out of the situation,
Yeah.
I'm like, this better not end with just a quick fight and it's over. Like
Yeah.
it can't be, especially with the gang getting together.
Right.
Can't end that way. So when it ended, my wife is like a real literal black and white. When it comes to movies, if there's no wrap up, tied up in a nice little bow.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what happened. Here's the resolution. Happy ending, bad ending, whatever.
Yeah.
She goes nuts. So ending like that, she's like,
What is this?
why did they do that? What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure I
so
heard somebody yell out at the end of our theater, like, "Oh my God," something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because I knew it was coming. I mean, we knew that there was a second half. It's just when is it going to end, and
Yeah.
how are they going to stop it? And I mean, it it was kind of like this build up, and then boom,
yes.
right there.
Yeah.
So
Like
is the
that's
second
a
Yeah.
cliffhanger.
is the second half just going to be climax the entire time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they've got still a whole lot of story to tell. So
It'd
I'm
be
looking
awesome if they
forward to
just
that, man.
started with the fight though. Like if they just started with right where they left off, I
Yeah,
could
Oh,
see
I'm
them
sure.
doing that. Like
I
just
could too.
picking up right where they left off
Hmm.
and just getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, because there's still going to be. Okay, look. So talking about uh, this might be too much of a spoiler though. Okay, I'll do it in kind of secret. So
The whole
you
world has seen it.
yeah, yeah, maybe so, huh? They
I think we're
they are
fine.
number one at the box office. So, all right. So the very end, right, where you see both of the miles. What was I? I was telling you about it. The theory that what they could do with, because there's no reason why the the new Miles wants to go back to the Spider-Man world, right? Like he's like the leader or whatever in this world that he's in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why would he want to go anywhere else,
Yeah.
if only to see his dad, right? That could be the only reason.
Mm,
So like if they do some kind of story there, might be kind of cool.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because that's the only
that's
thing.
that's good.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I see of why he would want to do anything with him,
Yeah.
unless he wants to take his power or something.
Yeah. Which I could see that being like his first goal, and then he finds out that the dad's alive.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like,
Well,
"Oh,
that
your dad's gonna die. I can go help save him,"
Hmm.
as like a redemption on my part.
Yeah.
Maybe he failed to save his dad.
Yeah. I don't. Well, no,
I
I don't
think they
think he
set it
said.
up though. They set that up
Yeah.
Yeah.
to where it could go. That remember he did not. He said something about the dad being alive,
Right.
and he said like I don't know if he said you're lying or my dad's dead or whatever.
Hmm.
They kind of set that up. Like that's really you might be onto something with that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. Just because that could be a really interesting story right there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the complaints that we had
Hmm.
about the Mandalorian show, where they set up these really good possible storylines,
And
and
don't
then
really deliver on any of
they
them.
just cut them all real short,
Yeah.
or they went a different direction with them. Just for example, the dark saber, right? Like they built that
Yeah,
story of the dark saber being this you know big thing, and then all of a sudden it gets crushed and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
why did we go through that if you're just gonna break it at the end?
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I'm hoping they don't do that kind of stuff with these like possible stories that they have built and ready for us.
Yeah. Which I have faith they won't. The last two have been great.
I do too. But we all know trilogies, man. The
Yeah.
third one always seems to like just go downhill real quick.
It's hard, man. It's hard. But I think that may be why I wonder if they've gotten most of it out of the way,
Hmm.
with the March 29th date. Um, because I think part of the reason why trilogies go down is because of the time. Like in between the two, you kind of lose and you try to do something else and go a different way. The
Hmm.
the narrative isn't as fresh in your mind. So you're trying to, there's a moment where it's lightning in a bottle that if you don't catch it and you're trying to recreate it, sometimes you get lost. So
Yeah.
if it's closer together to that second one, I think it could be amazing, like still fresh on their brain. But if they would have said 2 years later, forget about it. Like it's
Right. Well,
that
my
doesn't
hope
work.
is that because, like we said earlier, how they have references to the first movie, It's like they have this whole story already in their head. They just have to put all the pieces actually together.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, same thing with like Nolan in The Dark Knight, right? He had an idea that it was going to be a trilogy. Not exactly sure how he was going to do it, but he had an idea and then built upon it with what he had. So I feel like this is, and that one turned out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the third one is probably the weakest, but it was
What?
still really good. It's
What?
probably that's what I think. But I'll say this also: it's also my favorite one to watch.
Yeah.
Did you just clock out? You just like I'm out. I'm done with this.
No. Sorry, but yeah, I think I've seen the third one in the theaters probably 3 times.
Oh wow!
Nice.
So that's your
Yeah,
favorite one.
yeah,
Yeah. See, I mean,
amazing.
I think it's the same thing with like the Rocky movies. Rocky 3 is my favorite one to watch.
It's not the best one.
It's not the best one,
No,
but it's just more
no.
fast paced. Like
Star Wars
it's probably the
too.
shortest one out of all of them too.
Like New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. Those are perfect movies, essentially.
But
Return of the Jedi, not so much, but it is more fun to watch.
It's a fun watch.
Yeah.
So like rewatchability. There's certain movies, and that's how I feel about the Dark Knight Rises. Like it's got better rewatchability, but story wise, I think it's the weakest, which still strong.
Yeah.
Point being again that they had the idea down, and hopefully that's what they have with Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And boom, they'll knock it out the park again.
He was hoping.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about? So it's kind of like on the same train of thought. You brought up like New Hope, and what do you think from Rogue One to New Hope? Like, do you count that as? I know for sure, you know that they didn't have that in their mind already,
Yeah.
unless it was in like George Lucas's notebook in the closet somewhere. But what do you think about that? Do you include that with the first three and make it 0?
Rogue One.
Yeah,
I think it's a really, 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 really good side story. I don't know that I would call it 0 because it's not as intimately connected, but it works really well.
I think it's my favorite one out of all the Star Wars. Man, that's a good question though, because I never thought of it like a. I always thought of it as a prequel, but it's not really.
Yeah.
So
but they walk right into
It takes place
Yeah.
like
New
days
Hope.
it goes
before.
like
Like they
directly
walk
into
right
it.
into it.
So I
Yeah,
guess it's got to be a 0, right? Episode 0.
Timeline wise, yeah. Episode 3.5.
Oh, a half? Can we add halves?
Yeah.
Can we make it a half?
yeah.
A
3.5.
0.5, yeah.
Episode
Wait, then what's
3.5.
Andor?
Yeah.
Andor 3.2.
Oof, man.
Uh,
That's chapter 1.
yeah, I think because Andor is like you're digging into his life so much. I don't really.
Oh, so it's all
That's just a
separate.
completely different thing
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, it's completely separate. Do you count Obi-Wan in there
We
anywhere?
don't talk about Obi-Wan.
What?
No, dude.
We talk about the last episode and that's it.
I don't even remember the last episode.
Okay, so y'all didn't like
I
Obi-Wan.
like the last episode.
When he fought with him?
Okay,
Yeah. The
Yeah.
final fight is a good fight. I
That-
don't like it. I don't like
That was a good fight, man. But
so was Third Sister was she part of the reason you didn't like it?
nah.
She
Third
was
Sister was
fine. The entire story. Okay, I can see how most people would like it for sure. I played the Fallen Order game, and it's just the Obi-Wan show, but better in basically every way except for Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan is one of the best Star Wars characters.
Yes.
But the Fallen Order show, the Fallen Order game, the villain is the same as the Third Sister, but more complex. Darth Vader's role in it is better, but more complex. This
Yeah,
just-
I think that her role was wacky, man. Like her motives didn't make much sense
Her
to me.
plan was a little weird.
Her plan was the big thing.
Yeah.
Like that just didn't make any sense to me.
She went to Palpatine's school of convoluted plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for her specifically, that was my biggest complaint. Is like that was a dumb plan. Like, you know, you're better than that. Because she was a pretty good character.
Yeah.
Just what they did with her was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the whole like having Leia in there, like she was a pain. I didn't like her.
What?
Yeah, I didn't like her.
I like the idea of her being there and establishing a connection to Obi-Wan because she obviously knows him. And
Yeah.
She sends him a message.
But see, that's one of those that has holes too, like because she never really talks about him a whole lot for being that. Like he
True.
saved her life multiple times in that.
And then she was there when he dies. It's like, oh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that was kind of like a hole for me. The whole goofy like I'm gonna put her in my coat. You know that's it was no, it was too much, man.
I had a dream that I kidnapped hip-hop. Took her to the basement, the doors locked. It's over, she said I was a soldier, but I didn't hear a plea cause I already told her. The verdict would be life if she ever tried to harm me. You could bring the Navy, you could bring the Army. The ticking of the clock don't alarm me. Your time's up, you can have the game back when the rhyme's up. Yeah, when the bar's high and the rapper's not. When they can't be stopped cause they rap a lot and snap less. When they stop chasing her with the strapless and get back on they pad like a map quest. Up late again, I get no rest. Burden on my back got me so stressed. But then I see my past, man, I'm so blessed. Grace overflowing, watch me ingest. And ingest, I tell you I get paid for words an amount you never heard. They calling me OG, I'm just here to observe the game. Bring awareness when the foolery change. Not here for the trophy, but it's cool to be named amongst the elite. I wanna be light, and I don't mean the weak version. They get caught in the hype. I battle tonight, came here to fight. Now watch me incite a riot. I hit Tadashi up, he said, bruh, you gotta try it. Showed me the how when the wind couldn't deny it. Now it's time to hit road, something good for your soul. Maybe 34, some of that overexposed. If they put me in the stoves, that mean the empire struck back. I just pray the artist solid and the message makes contact. Consecutive releases, so I'm hoping you come back. It knocks in the teachers, you know the jet, I don't want that. And I'm back in my bag, Jansport on the tag. I ain't worried about swag, not concerned with the wage, just concerned with free minds that are told by the slave that it's all about a wage. Trying to get paid, so they tell you anything. Potential amount made, yeah, they sell you any dream. Watch them sip away, but I bet it ain't lean. It's the prop of the day, so now the listeners are fiend. Bored with education, so on Spotify they clean. To hear they guy mumble, give advice and try to sing. The message rings true. See your closest five and you probably see you. But get around the real and you probably see through. The sequence of the story sound like some memes do. Entertain with lies. The mantra of the world is something that I despise. What's dark is seen as light here. Evil in disguise, I'm gone.